I salute the national flag of Sri Lanka, which signifies the independence of my country and stands for all its people, united as one nation. I pledge allegiance to Sri Lanka and undertake to work towards its peace and prosperity in the spirit of tolerance and love.
Minds. Every day is new and improved. The aspiring youth.
On the Chartered Institute of Marketing, UK. She has held leadership.
Service above self. The Interact movement, a global youth movement pioneered towards creating more out-of-the-box leaders. Interact is no stranger to change and adapting. As Interact is powered by youthful minds,
Unit has been a pioneer in youth change over the past decades. Interact is no stranger to change and adapting.
To further unleash our potential, meaningful impact together. With that
handing over you this pin that we have received from our President, Jaygata.
It is where the new district Interact representative elect is announced and appointed.
Senior counterpart. Interact is 5 Avenue.
Pupudu de Zoisa. Pupudu counts over 20.
your presence here today.
This water response is unique.
Many past governors and a Rotary network across the globe.
First and foremost, let me commend you for the work you all have done in the last year and for the organization you have put in for this conference. I need not deal at length with the Rotary or with the Interact. You know what the Rotary is, the work that's done by the Rotary, and you as interactors are the ones who are now getting ready to take on the task of being Rotarians. Service to mankind and service to Sri Lanka. This is what you all have engaged in. And I have no doubt that you will address this issue further today as well as in the course of this year, the coming year, when you engage in different projects. This is in a way a training to become a Rotarian, a training to do good to your fellow men. When I was invited, I accepted the invitation for this reason. Your district governor was worried that I may not turn up here today after the Royal Thomaian match yesterday. I want to tell her the match was over yesterday and a new day begins today. It was, I must say, an interesting match, and I must commend both the Royal and the St. Thomas's team. In a way, it's also a test of, it's a training in leadership and a test of leadership for the captains of both sides as well as those who will be playing next year. How do you prepare for a match? How do you work together with your coach? How do you try to win the match? And how do you have to prevent losing a match? This is what you have to go into. Well, yesterday was a decisive day. Instead of being a draw as usual, Royal Thomian matches, there was a outcome. As for the Thomians, they have to study why they lost, why Royal won, what are the weaknesses in your strategies, and how can you win the DSN Naka Cup next year. So that itself is a test in leadership. For the Royal College, and especially its captain, it's another test. Having lost many matches, first, how do you prevent a defeat? And secondly, how do you win? So instead of looking at how to prevent a defeat, he decided to go for victory. And it was good leadership. I must commend him. And he turned a situation in which Royal was losing all matches into a victory in the final encounter. Now, I am also trying to do, my attempt is also to do what the captain of the Royal College cricket team has done. Last July, I was asked to take over the country. And at that time, as you know, there was a shortage of petrol, there was a shortage of fertilizer, there was a shortage of food, there was a shortage of everything. We had no money. We couldn't make our payments. The government had no money. It was a difficult task. It was like the Royal team which had lost most of the matches. And many thought that we won't be able to come out of it. So far, in the last 7 months or so, been able with my team to stabilize the situation. There's fuel now, there's electricity, there's fertilizer, and by April there'll be enough of rice and other foodstuff. And we are now in a situation we will no longer be declared a bankrupt nation, but a nation that can restructure its debts. That will happen in the next few days. So like the captain of the Royal team, I also have to perform the same function. How do we turn this economy around? Now what we are doing at the moment, and the results of the IMF Board of Directors only gives us a breathing space where they will say that we are no longer bankrupt and that we can restructure the debt. So all the monies that we had to pay this year, we will be given at least another, I hope, 10 years to repay it. In the meantime, there will be new debts. We have to borrow money because all our foreign exchange earnings for a year is not sufficient to meet all our needs of importing petroleum, of importing fertilizer. It's not enough. So we have what we call a balance of payment deficit, where our export earnings, our foreign earnings, are less than the money we have to spend for all our needs that we have to purchase or obtain from abroad. So this is the long term. Secondly, is how do we stabilize the rupee? The rupee has now gone up to over 300 and has been remain over 300, going up to 300 even 80, coming down. Once we have this agreement with the IMF, the rupee will come down, but it won't come down to 200 or 185. That has to happen gradually. So we have a period of stabilization, and that is 4 years. With the IMF, we have agreed, they've given targets, we've agreed that that the budget will not be a deficit, that the budget will have a surplus by 2026, and that we will then be able to borrow and to pay back the monies we borrow. Now, that is not a very good situation, because once we stabilize the economy and we can restructure the debts, we must also find means of paying off all our debts and coming to a situation where we have a surplus in the country, that every year, like Japan or Singapore or Germany or Korea, that at the end of the day, we will have a surplus. Our foreign exchange earnings will exceed our requirements for the time being, where we have to import our fuel, medicine and certain other basic foodstuffs. So that is the next stage. So to win this match, to win this encounter, stabilizing the economy is not enough. You must then make the economy grow. And unless you make the economy grow, we will go down again. So when I went to Royal Primary, we were the second most prosperous nation in Asia. First Japan, second Sri Lanka. Today every other country has overtaken us. Now I want, as far as I am concerned, my aim now is also not only to lay the groundwork to restructure our debt, to stabilize our economy so that we can repay our debts in 10 years' time, but to build a new economy in which we will be prosperous and we will be able also to become a developed economy, giving a better future for those who will be living in the next 40, 50 years. Now for that I need a team. When I lay that down, I need a team for that match. That is going to be the big match. Are we going to make it? Are we going to develop this country, or are we going to let it slide? For that game, who's my team? My team is going to be all of you all. What we will lay down now is a 25-year plan. A 25-year plan. So by 2049, we'll be a prosperous nation. We'll be as well off as people in Malaysia or the people in some of the European countries, that we will have no debt, and more than that, each of you will be having at least earning a few $1,000s a month, or maybe more. Now I say each of you, because if you take the next 25 years, all of you, the oldest here will be 45. You are not even 50. Some will be less. So it is your future that we have to talk of. Unless I stabilize the economy, we can't develop as a country to become a prosperous society. Once we stabilize the economy, then we can go ahead to become a prosperous country. Now, some of you are thinking of going abroad for education. I understand some of the difficulties of getting to the universities here, or the problems you face inside universities. Some of you are thinking of going abroad and not being in Sri Lanka. Some of you want to go out and work and come back. All I want to say to all those who are thinking of going abroad is don't abandon the country. In the next 2 years, you will see the country developing, and then you will see that you have a future. So certainly go out, certainly study, but remember to come back, because this is a 25-year match. This is not like the Royal Tournament, which is played in 3 days, or some of the other school matches that are played in 2 days. This is a 25-year match. The second innings will be much longer than the first innings. First innings is only 4 years. Second innings may be 21 years after that. So this is the game that we have to play, that all of you here have to play. All of your age in this country has to play. Now that game we must play to win. We must become the most prosperous country in our region. We must not have poverty. We must have employment. We must have a green economy. We must have a digitalized economy. We must be modern in our technology, modern in our thinking. And there has to be a very marked change in the way the country is governed. That is what you call a system change. And that system change, we have to do that system change not having Governor Pubudu in mind. Let's forget her. We must have that system change thinking of the interactors here. What is the country you want? What is the society you want? What are the changes you want? In that case, you have to participate here in building that country, because you will finally take over leadership. So what I have been trained here is not merely to run the Rotary, but some of you will in different ways, every one of you will help to build the country and hopefully run the country. And some of you, I hope, will be able as Rotarians to come and make the speech that I have been making today. So I don't want to take any more of your time, but I want to wish you all the best in your endeavors and wish the Interact all the best. Thank you.